Okay, for those of you that have been, very few that has been watching, this is a painstaking process where we had taken raw land, cleared it. It used to be those pines, and we wanted to farm and restore the land because it was a monocrop of pines that was used for timberland for who God knows how many decades. And we needed raw land, so this was the best we found for the price. And it's a lovely community in a very good area. So yeah, this used to be a forest area where you couldn't even walk. You had to find a trail, but so many briars are still here too. But we're gonna restore that anyway. This project right here, this was, let me stand back so you can see, is 2 kennels put together long ways. There's a gate in the middle. That way we can get in there and work and then shift the birds from one section to another. I would like to extend this with more paneling for a bird yard. Right now there's no cover from hawks, so we're just being very careful. Over there, there's no cover either. It's an electrical fence, netting, and there used to be the duck pen and dog pen over there. Now the dog pen was moved here where there's better drainage off the clay. We used cardboard because our wood chips had not come in for a couple of months, and we just layered the cardboard, which still was a hot mess because we had a rainy season, and because the ground doesn't percolate very well there, the dogs tore it up really quick. We had to change it out consistently. We got the the really long, large sheets of cardboard that would maybe fit only 3 to 4 pieces in the pen, which is was saved a lot of time. But then we built that structure right here, that white structure, in a pyramid shape, which makes it stronger because through this valley, we have trees on both sides of us. The wind can get very gusty. So a lot of our temporary shelter, especially through the winter storm we had here that broke records, and it threw one of our 20 by 20 pins from that area all the way down and hit the building. So we staked that in. We learned from our mistake. It's a trial and error thing. The dogs, I just put shade cloth up. I've got to pop the middle up for a tent. So it's more of a tent than just laying across the kennel. But those are on stakes. They're hooked to stakes, not the kennel itself. So when the wind pulls it up, it's not putting strain on the kennel itself. It's just pulling up on the stakes. And then that little corner right here is a perch and another shelter for the birds. Now over there we have Muscovies, which is a type of geese. They call them ducks, but they are a type of geese from South America. And then we have turkeys. We have 3 toms now, 2 hens, and we have lavender Muscovies and then black Muscovies because to breed lavenders, you must, or it's good for you to breed in the black just for genetics, to strengthen genetics, and that's the only color that will help keep the lavender in when you breed. Anyway, back to this structure. That was just a brief, summary of what's been going on. Now this netting at the top, you can't see it. Let me get closer to it so you can. That's that poultry netting, which I do love it, but it's a pain to work with. On the other side, you can see the excess that came off the duck pen. I thought about cutting it just for look's sake, but I'm not going to because I might have a larger pen, and you can always use a longer piece, and the shorter pieces, can only work for the shorter areas. But you can see we used bamboo for perches in here. And then there's a gate in the center, and then we used the emergency shelter, the container we had used for Faith's babies when they were born because she refused to have them in the building with other goats. We now have turned that into a little chicken shelter. And then we have this tarp, this damaged old tarp that I would love to see go to the dump or cut into smaller pieces for different things. I don't like the flat tops. Stay away from the flat tops. My husband did reinforce it with some paneling as a ceiling inside of here, but it's still not, it needs bracing. Bracing is everything, I think, just from my experience. And if you don't have a slant or a peak, water will set on that and it can bend those panels because those panels are not as strong as you would think they are. They're really not. So it needs bracing. I'm hoping I would like to get a silver tarp, a single silver tarp, and then I can add some bamboo to the top of the post and then slant this tarp or the tarp I'm getting and make it tight. You want it to be tight and slanted where water runs off of it. Snow is a whole different beast, but we don't have much snow, so I'm not too worried about it. We received 30 chickens from our neighbor that she hatched with an incubator that we had given to her to use. We just didn't have any eggs, and she knows that we're in the process of building things here, and she was so kind to even just give us a batch of chickens, basically. I mean, it's a mixed bags. They're not all hens. They're not all roosters. They're mixed. And then these are some of my Muscovy escapees that I now have in here. They don't like it. They're the girls who didn't want to get mated. I will add one male to these ducks from the other area. I'm just not sure if I want to do a lavender. Probably one of the lavenders. That way I can get a chance of more lavender babies. I've got a lot of people wanting those. But let's go in. So we're going in. This door is kind of short, so I have to duck. In order to resolve the issue about the netting over the door, there was a piece that was already kind of jagged, and I just took a piece of stick or a branch and rolled up that part. You can see it doesn't look as nice as it should, but it's fine. It stays up there nice, and it covers this area right here where they can't fly out. And there's Dottie. She wants the chicken feed. They are in the goat pen. Yeah, that's the excess netting, excess netting that I may use later if I expand out that way. And that stuff is hard to work with. I had to take my wedding ring off. I had to take my copper bracelet off just to work with it. It kept catching on my zipper on my vest. But look at these birds, guys. And yes, these are mixed breed birds, but the coloring, I don't really go to shows. I just want the birds to lay well. And I like the variety. I like the different colors. Now, I do like purebreds. You know, who doesn't? But I find it's like it's really exciting to see the colors that come out of chickens that are mixed breed, and they seem to be more resilient. Their instincts usually are right on point, and they're great layers from my experience. So now I have 30 of them. I don't know how many are roosters, except for that one. I'm pretty sure is a rooster. And some of them with the bigger combs, I know that they are probably roosters. I'm not really as adept at sexing them as some people are, but I've not been the one. My husband's been the one that's been doing that. But I'm getting practice, so I'll be good at it. Get better at it at least. So I hung a feeder there on the bamboo. They use that for a perch. They have perches in here. Lower perch for the smaller ones, higher perch for the larger ones. And as they grow, I'll probably just step it up a little bit. Oh, and we added mulch in here, the wood chips that I had gotten from the power company. That's something that you guys might want to consider, is getting. Now I had to use, because I had this pen already here and we needed to get the chickens from her. There was no time left. Instead of opening a panel and dumping beds of wood chips in, which would have been probably easier, I used a old Tidy Cats bucket, filled the UTV bed up, and then by bucket, and we're looking probably about 6 buckets right here, and then going down next to it, I just dumped the bucket. I didn't spread it. You want it to be pretty thick, and I'll probably do it like sprinkle more on top of this in a few days. I'll just continuously build this up, and then as the chickens work on it, and we move them, this will be another bed for a garden. It's in the right direction of the sun to be a perfect garden. And then we'll move the goat fencing around on the other side of the building, and then use this for a garden, and then continuously move the chickens that way. I prefer a mobile method, but I mean, if you're willing to put the labor in, it's still worth it. It's just panels. It's not that big of a deal. And we use chain to put them together. We don't continuously screw on the rigid parts. We just kind of put it up there and go. And then if you continue to do this, and like I said, get wood chips, get signed on with your power company, And when they trim the branches, and I made sure I asked them if they use herbicides around here. They said they don't use herbicides, and I haven't seen any dead trees because of it. So that's a plus. So make sure you check on that. And then you get signed up with your power company. Whenever they do any kind of trimming, they'll bring a load of wood chips in for you for free. And you can't beat that. Now, this is the other side of the yard. This is what it looked like before. And here, I put, if you notice, I put mulching in the shelter too. So I'll just continuously, they'll turn this by themselves. They'll turn all this. And then I'll just come in and then put, top it off. And then over here, I'm going to do the same. Today, I'm working on this part. So this was 4 loads with my UTV, bucketing everything in. So, and then remember 6 coming down, sometimes 7. I just dumped the buckets. Like I said, I didn't spread it. So they seem to be very comfortable in here, and I'm happy. The ducks are not. They're used to having a larger expanse to run around in, and they don't like it very much. But they're not getting hurt. They're fine. They got water. Now I will probably get them a small pool. I want to expand this area, another kennel. I'm going to try to go for one every month or every other month, and then maybe just block off the areas while I work on getting it taken apart for a garden. And that way I'm constantly leapfrogging it, around. I'll just take the back part off, close the gate, put the back to the front, add the back to the front, which is only going to be 3 panels, and just continuously add one of the gates to the center part so I can get through, and then just leapfrog them down around the land. But I am excited. I won't be able to use it this spring, but it's going to be ready for next year. So, or maybe even in the fall for a fall garden. Hey, Jack, I see you, boy. The goats are so excited because they have something to scratch themselves on, which is this chain link right here. And then they want to get to that food, so I have to be so careful sneaking the food in. I feed them first anyway. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this temporary shelter video. This is just making do, poor boy method of what you have. And I would have more panels left if it wasn't for the storm, but things happen for a reason. Are you going to break my perch? Are you going to break my perch, Jack? I have them zip tied, but I'm sure that I will have to replace these. Thank God that bamboo's flexible. It probably feels so good to his horns. Anyway, talk to you guys later.